Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we've been digging into a really fascinating stack of sources you shared with us, all pointing towards some timeless wisdom from the 1970s. So, our mission today, a deep dive into what we're calling legendary money-saving habits from that era. Think of it less like just being frugal and more like, well, a mindset,
Mhm.
self-reliance, conscious living. It feels like a powerful guide for today, especially with prices going nuts.
Exactly. These aren't just, little tips here and there. They reflect a really fundamentally different way people thought about resources, about consumption, even about community, I think. We're going to unpack five powerful habits. They could definitely save you money, maybe hundreds, even thousands. But maybe more importantly, they offer real insights into a more sort of resilient way of life.
Yeah, resilient. I like that. So as we go through these, maybe think about which one really clicks with you, or perhaps which one your family used to do, or maybe one you're just curious to try out this week. Okay, let's start where a lot of life happens, the kitchen. First up, home cooking. The sources really paint a picture where, back in the 70s, eating out was like a big treat, pretty rare. Most meals were made from scratch. And that wasn't just about saving money, was it? It fostered family time, stories around the table.
It really did. And the contrast with today, wow. Takeout is everywhere. It's expensive. 20 bucks a meal easily. But beyond the cost, which is huge, these sources highlight something else. Food autonomy. That's what home cooking in the 70s was about. You controlled the ingredients. You knew exactly what you were feeding your family. It was about building this foundational skill of self-reliance. Honestly, with all the supply chain worries today, that idea feels incredibly relevant again.
Food autonomy, that's a really strong way to put it. Control. But okay, people are busy now, super busy. How did 70s families manage the time? Did the sources talk about, efficiency or how we could adapt that?
Well, they definitely emphasize things like meal planning, shopping smart. And often, cooking wasn't just one person's job. It was more of a team effort. The idea was maybe less, ugh, another chore, and more collaborative,
Yeah.
which, funny enough, can actually make it feel quicker and more enjoyable.
Right, get everyone involved. Okay, so some practical takeaways from the sources. Start small. Maybe just aim for one or two extra home-cooked meals this week, or just focus on making your own breakfast or packing a lunch instead of buying it. Oh, and batch cooking. That came up a lot.
Yes, batch cooking is key. A big pot of soup, chili, whatever. Cook once, eat for several days. It saves so much time and, honestly, mental energy during the week.
Definitely reduces that what's for dinner stress.
And the money you save. Obvious benefit, right? Cutting takeout can free up a surprising amount for savings or travel or paying down debt. But there's another thing that happens, maybe less talked about. You get better at it. Cooking gets easier, faster. You start improvising, using leftovers, creating really good budget-friendly stuff from whatever's in the pantry. It builds this, culinary confidence that goes way beyond just following recipes. Less food waste, too.
Okay, so the challenge for this first habit. Pick one recipe this week, just one, and make it completely from scratch. See how it feels. Because home cooking, it's more than just food, isn't it? It's about memories, health, saving big money, sure, but also just bringing people together. The 70s really understood that the kitchen is the heart of the home.
Absolutely. That spirit runs deep.
And that spirit, that self-reliance we were just talking about with cooking, it definitely didn't stop at the kitchen door. Which brings us to our second legendary habit. Fix it, don't ditch it. The sources suggest people took real, genuine pride in repairing things they owned. They saw possessions as long-term investments, not just disposable stuff.
Right. And that's such a direct challenge to today's, well, let's call it what it is, throwaway culture. What these sources really bring out is that fixing something wasn't just about saving a few bucks. It was almost an act of stewardship, It turned a broken thing from a problem into a project, a little puzzle. It showed resourcefulness, and it was kind of a quiet pushback against things being designed to break.
I love that reframe from problem to project. But okay, what if you feel like you have zero mechanical skills? I mean, where do you even start? Is it really just look it up on YouTube, or did the sources mention common hurdles?
Yeah, they absolutely stress starting small. Clothes are a great example. Sewing on a button, patching a small hole. Anyone can learn that. For appliances, yeah, YouTube is amazing. But lots of common fixes are surprisingly doable. You don't need to become a master technician overnight. The key is finding something low stakes for your first try. Build that confidence bit by bit.
And honestly, the satisfaction you get when you actually fix something yourself, it's unbeatable. It's a real confidence booster, like you said.
Totally. And think about it. Maybe a $5 part brings a $100 appliance back to life. That's huge savings. And it keeps stuff out of the landfill. You start seeing broken things as opportunities, not just trash.
Okay, so the invitation, the challenge for this habit. Next time something breaks anything, big or small, challenge yourself. Just spend, say, 15 minutes searching online for a fix before you even think about replacing it. Because repairing stuff, it builds resilience, saves you cash, and helps fight that massive, growing problem of waste. It's powerful.
Really powerful.
Okay, moving on. Habit number 3. This one feels super relevant right now. Thrift shopping. Back in the 70s, the sources say this was way more than just saving money. It was a whole lifestyle choice. Secondhand stuff was actually cool, like a badge of honor almost. A way to stand out, express your own style, maybe even quietly protest against just buying everything new all the time.
Exactly. It was like a treasure hunt.
Hmm.
Going into a thrift store was an adventure. You never knew what you'd find: a unique vintage jacket, some funky accessory, maybe a rare vinyl record. It was all about finding something with character, something with a bit of a story behind it.
Which is such a stark contrast to, well, fast fashion today. Stuff that's cheap, yeah, but often really low quality,
Yeah.
falls apart after a few washes, and just adds to mountains of waste.
Right. And what these sources really hammer home is that thrifting often means finding better-made things. Clothes, furniture, housewares, stuff that was built to last, especially vintage pieces.
Yeah.
You could seriously score designer items or solid wood furniture for way less than you'd pay for something new, and frankly kind of flimsy. It really flips that whole new is always better idea on its head.
So for someone maybe new to thrifting or wanting to try it again, what's the advice from the sources?
Go in with an open mind, definitely. Don't look for something super specific necessarily. Look for quality fabrics, interesting vintage styles, unique pieces that catch your eye. Sometimes you got to dig a little deeper. Or maybe try on something that's a bit outside your usual comfort zone. That's where the magic often happens.
Yeah, be adventurous.
And remember, it's not just clothes. Thrift stores are gold mines for books, kitchen stuff, cool dishes, even furniture and art. You could practically outfit your whole home with character and charm, save a ton of money, and be way more sustainable. It helps you develop your own eye, your own unique style, rather than just following trends.
Okay, challenge time for this one. If you've never really thrifted before, maybe make a point to just visit one store this week. No pressure to buy, just browse, explore, see what's out there. And if you're already a thrifter, maybe rediscover that thrill of the hunt. The joy of finding that perfect, unexpected thing.
It's sustainable, it's affordable, it can be really fun, even a social thing. The 70s really embraced secondhand as this statement against just mindless consumerism, pushing back against mass production. It makes you think, what does that spirit mean for us today? Before buying new, maybe ask yourself, could I find this secondhand?
Great question. Okay, habit number 4 takes us maybe outside, or maybe just to a sunny windowsill, growing your own food. The sources show gardens were everywhere back then. Big yards, small plots, even pots on balconies and windowsills. It wasn't just a quaint little hobby, it felt like a really powerful act of self-sufficiency.
And wow, with grocery prices doing what they're doing now, these sources are a great reminder. Even just a few pots and some seeds can make a real dent in your bill, especially for things like herbs and maybe some small veggies. And the key thing is, you really don't need a huge yard. Lots of herbs, think basil, mint, chives, even things like cherry tomatoes, they do great in containers. A sunny spot is all you need sometimes.
Yeah, totally. And beyond the money savings, which are real, the sources talk about that connection you get, actually connecting with your food, the satisfaction of watching something grow. It's apparently great for your mental health, too. It feels like a small, tangible step towards being a bit more self-reliant, having a little more food security, especially when things feel uncertain.
Absolutely.
So for anyone thinking, okay, maybe I could try this, the advice is super simple. Start easy. Herbs are fantastic starters. Cherry tomatoes in a pot. Really straightforward.
The initial cost is tiny: a pot, some soil, a packet of seeds. But the payoff in fresh produce and just that feeling of accomplishment, it's huge. You'd be amazed how much even one little basil plant can give you all season.
So here's the invitation. Maybe a weekend project. Grab a pot, some soil, and some seeds. Plant something simple. That's it. Just watch it grow.
Yeah, don't worry about making it perfect or having some huge harvest right away. Just start. Honestly, just getting started is usually the biggest hurdle.
The 70s valued this skill for a really good reason, it seems. It's an invitation for all of us, maybe, to reconnect with our food, with the earth, and yeah, with our wallets, too, in a really meaningful way.
Well said.
Okay, and finally, our 5th and last habit. And boy, does this one feel timely, too. Energy conservation. The sources really paint a picture of the 70s energy crisis, making people Well, hyper aware, aware of every single watt of electricity, every drop of water. It wasn't optional then, it was necessity driving conscious consumption every single day.
Yeah, and you contrast that with today. It's easy to waste energy without even thinking about it, right?
Yeah.
Lights left on in empty rooms, all our gadgets plugged in constantly, maybe taking super long showers. What's really compelling from these 70 sources, though, is how they show that small, consistent changes genuinely add up. They make a real difference. It's not about deprivation, it's about mindfulness, creating this powerful ripple effect for your budget and for the planet.
Right. So the practical steps that came up in the sources, pretty straightforward stuff, but powerful when you actually do it consistently. Turning off lights when you leave a room basic, but how often do we forget? Using natural light whenever possible. Unplugging chargers and devices when they're not actually in use, cutting that phantom power draw. Oh, and switching to LED bulbs, that's a big one.
Huge difference with LEDs. They also mention things like taking shorter showers, maybe challenge yourself by a minute or two, only running the dishwasher or washing machine when they're actually full, adjusting the thermostat, even just a degree or two, maybe putting on a sweater instead of just automatically cranking up the heat. It sounds small, but these habits together reinforce that mindful approach to resources. Conservation becomes a conscious act, not an afterthought.
Okay, so a very practical challenge for this last habit. Tonight, maybe just do a quick energy audit at home. Walk around. Ask yourself, what's on right now that doesn't need to be? What can I turn off or unplug?
Yeah.
Then just make one deliberate change. Maybe unplug that phone charger you leave in all day, and just see if you notice a difference, however small, on your next utility bill.
Exactly. Because while this stuff might have been born purely out of necessity back in the 70s, embracing these habits today, that's really an act of wisdom, isn't it? It's
Yeah.
a conscious choice to use less, to be more mindful. And it really shows that every little action does count. It contributes to something bigger, both for your own finances and for the environment.
So there you have it, 5 legendary habits from the 1970s. More than just ways to save money, they really represent this powerful spirit of self-reliance, resourcefulness, and conscious living.
And remember, the goal here isn't perfection overnight. It's progress. Each small shift you make towards any of these habits can genuinely add up to pretty substantial long-term benefits. Don't feel like you have to do everything at once.
Totally. So our final invitation for you today, just pick one. Pick one habit that resonated or one that feels maybe the easiest to start with, and just commit to trying it this week. Maybe it's cooking one extra meal from scratch. Maybe it's trying that 15-minute online search before replacing something broken. Maybe it's stepping into a thrift store, planting one little seed, or making one deliberate energy-saving switch tonight. Just one thing.
Yeah, just start somewhere. And as you do, maybe mull over that broader idea we touched on. The 70s embraced secondhand as a real statement against consumerism,
Yeah.
Pushback against mass production. What does that kind of spirit mean for how we think about consumption, about our resources, about what we value today?